Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
Oh, right back at you. It's the Kid 50 Cent.
This is your boy Weezy F, baby.
Yo, what it does? This your homie Rick Ross. This is your boy Gucci Man LaFleur.
You're in the mix with.
It's the K.L.P Aftermath.
Crazy, you heard me?
Right here, so keep it locked.
You heard me?
She knows a hollow from a double up. She does snapbacks, backsides, shoots the curl. Bethany Hamilton knows everything about surfing. She just didn't know about the shark. But just months after the attack, and with only one arm, the 13-year-old surfs again. And now she's ripping it better than ever. So next time life puts a little fear in you, just think of Bethany Hamilton hanging 10 on top of a heavy wave. That's real courage. Pass it on.
From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Live from our newsrooms brings back our hit news network, SNN, with many news anchors like Arthur Brooks, Addison Hayden, and Beatrix Gemma. Brings you stories about the news worldwide. Tune in on Atlanta's #1 stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations. To get the latest news today, listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
Hey, I'm Ariana Grande.
Hey, yo, this Cardi B. What's up? It's Megan Thee Stallion.
You're in the mix with
It's the K.L.P Aftermath.
Right here, so keep it locked.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet.
You are now tuned in to Atlanta's hottest radio show.
And the other stations are tuned in too.
K.L.P Aftermath. Swanky. With your host, Kennedy Lucas. On Swanky 93.3 radio station. The Heat 94.6 radio station.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another exciting podcast. And today is not just your typical podcast. This is the K.L.P Aftermath. I'm your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. We have my nearest and dearest, Simone Teags, is here in the studio as well. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuned in to the Slam Dunk Show here this morning, it is a wonderful, finally, it's September, first and foremost. Welcome to, it was still kind of summertime because it's still hot, but we're getting ready until the fall season. We're turning the page, turning the chapter. And if you guys see the thumbnail or the logo, if you're watching the or if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you guys know that we are officially kicking off this episode for season 7. Welcome to season 7. I cannot express my humbleness, my ever growing gratitude to our fan base. It's been a second. I'm gonna get to that in a couple of seconds here, but of course we've got my nearest and dearest Simone Teags up in the studio, and I gotta give her a shout out and a hello. And I know it's been a minute. Well, like I say, I'll get to that in a minute. But Simone, how are you doing today, honey?
Kennedy, it's been so long. I am glad I'm back in the studio. And I'm over exaggerating. It's been so long. It's been a minute, but we've been doing a lot of other stuff as of lately, and I'm good. I'm glad that you're healthy. I'm glad that you're back. Of course, you're going to get to the topic of why, of course, we've been away for a second, but it's good to have you back. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're in great spirits. We've been in the writer's room, of course, writing for our latest movie, Marty. Yes, I'm going to be one of the writers for that coming up film. And we're getting started with that. We're kicking things off. I did have the okay from K.L.P Entertainment and Kennedy Lucas Films to shout that out as well. We've been doing some side projects as well. Ladies and gentlemen, especially my ladies, it's your girl Simone Teags. Welcome back to another exciting podcast. Yes, we are kicking off officially season 7 Now, this is actually my second season on the show. I came in at season 6, but Kennedy, you've been kicking this show around and really be doing good on this show for 7 seasons. That is crazy. That's bonkers to me because a lot of shows don't make it within their 7th season. A lot of shows don't make it past their 2nd season sometimes. So it's good to have you back. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm stoked. And super, super excited for our chapter, this fall chapter. We've got a lot of great things coming up this fall, a lot of things we're going to talk about. And honestly, I'm glad you're back. And again, I'm so cheery. I'm so jippy and cheery because I've been waiting to come back for the show as well, to give you not only to our fan base things to talk about today, but it feels good to see you're back in well.
Yeah, so it's good to be back in the studio to give our fan base, Simone, another exciting season, and it feels good to be back in the studio. Okay, so rest assured to our fan base that yes, I'm in a better headspace this morning to give you another exciting show, another season. I want to first apologize to our fan base, right? I want to apologize to a lot of our fan base that listen to our show via radios, whether it's Apple or iHeart or Spotify, because you guys make up about 80% of our success rate within our entire business. It's podcasting, radio, and radio shows for us. Then I want to say about 80%, and then or maybe 70%, and then the other 30% is video content, films, and music, right? So our niches are our radio shows, whether it's SNN, whether it's Monica Gray in the Evening, this show, the Amp Up with K.L.P, all the shows that we've got. The Latest in Tech News is another one. You know, those, and Sports Talk, by the way, can't forget about those guys, of course. You guys listening to the show, you guys help us blossom. Yeah, I've been gone for a while. I've been gone for about a week and a half, and usually it's unusual, right? Because every morning, every Tuesday and Thursday, I try to give you guys the radio content, and every Wednesday I try to do my Morning Unwrap show in Studio B, and then all the other shows is Monday through Thursday, SNN or Sports Talk. I've been away from the K.L.P Entertainment business side of things. Besides writing, I've been not in the greatest headspace. It's okay, and this is kind of a PSA to a lot of people out there that are making content and you get kind of burned out, right? We have a lot of projects that are in the works, and I have a lot of other personal things that are going on at home, right? I've got a lot of personal things that's going around in my mind for new opportunities to arise, and you know, I'm still in the waiting phases of some of the things that I want to get accomplished. It sucks waiting on approval for things. It sucks waiting for another team to make a decision on things. It sucks. The waiting part really, really sucks. So I've been in my mind about the potential opportunities that are getting ready to arise, and you know, whatever decision goes out with that for our expansion. So I've been in my head about that. I've been in my head about that as well, wanting to achieve a certain thing, and it's just haven't been in my hands yet, and it's the waiting period. So I get in my mind that I'm not doing as much. And it all stems for your mental health. A lot of podcasters, a lot of radio show personalities, we advocate the importance of mental health and staying healthy mentally and physically, and to be in a safe headspace. And for the past week and a half, Simone and cast and crew here in the studio, I'm sorry to you guys, because you know, we haven't been doing a show in a week and a half. We missed out on a week and a half worth of shows because I haven't been ready to come back and to really be on mic and to really be energetic. So I apologize to that. I'm sorry to my fan base because I haven't given you guys a whole lot of content. But yes, mental health is real. There was a night last week, mid last week, where I was driving home, and I like to listen to gospel. Now, if you guys don't know that much about me, I'm going to dabble into my gospel music. I love gospel, but I haven't been. I've been listening to gospel that one night, and I was driving home, and there were some songs that I was listening to, and it's the second time that I broke down crying. Yes, men cry, right? I cry when I'm upset about something, really stressed out about something, and my mental health is not there. I'm going to break. And as every CEO will break, you will break when you're upset about something and something's not working, and then you get frustrated and you get tired. And then you're around certain people that don't bring you positivity. They bring you negativity, and they just don't give a fuck, right? So I broke down crying. I did. But the one people that really got me to a better mood and really talked me into some great sense, but really got into it, I got to give it up to my family, right? Whether it's my little brother, to my big sister, to my mom, to my dad. I've had conversations with all of them within the week and a half span, and they really cheered me up, and they really got me going. 'Cause especially my sister, I got to give a shout out to my sister D'Amber, because she did say, you need to, breathe and relax, get your journal, start writing. Every night doing a stretch, whether it's yoga or just simple stretch, and saying my prayers at night. And that's one thing that I always used to do, is say a prayer at night. And I've been slacking. I have, and it's my fault, because I've been too much in my head about stuff. So I have started journaling. I have started, going to the gym, and I've been going to the gym, but going to the gym, hitting it hard, and praying every night. Because it's been better. Right, there's some things that I'm still a little bit, I want to say I'm 10% still stressed about, but I can say that I'm in the right space, obviously, to do the show, but to really give you guys a lot of great things to talk about on this show. So that's where I've been. That's where I've been lately. I've been there. I've been to a lot of great things, but it's good to be back. It's good to be in great graces. It's good to be healthy. Simone, as always, you've always been a support. Yeah, I've talked to you before too. I've talked to everybody here in the studio within the week span, and you guys were concerned, like, hey, is the show canceled? Or are we coming back soon? And so what greater way to kick off a new season is to be kind of a welcome back kind of episode. But yeah, I'm back. I'm very, very back. We've got some new equipment in the studio too. So I'm very, very excited about all the newer equipment that's arriving to the studio. So we're back for another episode. And Simone, you're itching to talk about the latest Nintendo Direct video that came out a couple days ago. It's a good year for gaming, right? You've got Spider-Man 2 coming out. You've got the 2 Mario games coming out, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. And Simone, you want to talk about it, right?
Yes, Kennedy, yes. I am very, very excited to talk about the Nintendo Direct for the past couple of days. And I know we might be a little late to the game here, Kennedy, on that. But the Nintendo Switch Direct was a couple days ago. And I was very, very intrigued with the game as well. Now, the previous Nintendo Direct video, or stream, if you will, it was a 15-minute type of stream, but they really showed you all of the glitz and glamour that comes with the game. Now, I'm particularly excited for this game because this is going to be a game that me and Kevin, we're going to pick up, we're going to play, and we're going to really enjoy it. But a lot of people are very excited about this one because it's different. And the reason why I say it's different, guys, is because I think this is the first game that is going to integrate all of the different types of characters, right? I think this has to be the first game, a Mario 2D game, I should say, where you get to play as Daisy, right? I really love it when franchises, and this is rare because they never really do this, but a franchise using all of their IP, right? Using all the characters that we were prone and we know about, but it's been a minute since we've seen these characters in action because they haven't been playable. They've just been on the side story. But now we get to play as Princess Daisy. Now we get to play as Yoshi, different 4 colors of Yoshi. So in this game, you've got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Gambit, 4 colors of Yoshis, I want to say 4 colors of Toads, Toadette. You've got all of these different types of characters that are going to be in this game is going to be all playable. Now, I think this game will really hit wonders, and no pun intended, but I think it's going to make wonders if for some reason Nintendo decides to add more characters. Would it be cool if we saw Wario? Would it be cool if we saw Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, all of the other Nintendo character IPs that we haven't seen in action in a while? That would be amazing to have them a part of this journey with them. Now, the premise of the story is this set sells here in the Flower Kingdom, right? Prince Florinian, or Florin, I probably butchered that name, but you've got this prince who's getting ready to celebrate the new flower power-up, but then Bowser interrupts the party and takes over by using the flower power-up, turns himself into Prince Florinian's castle. He takes the castle, and now the castle is taking over the kingdom, and it's up to Mario and friends to figure out how to fix this debacle. So that story is pretty head-on for the most part, but I'm very, very excited about the gameplay mechanics when it comes down to this game, simply because, you know, it's a 2D Mario platformer, but it's a different art style, right? You got different art styles, different power-ups, different, I want to say, skill trees, right? Because you're finding things and you're customizing things, and I really do hope that this game is long, Kennedy. I really do. I hope this game really puts in some hours. I do see this selling to a lot of members with family members that want a new Mario game, and they get to play together and really have hours and hours and hours on end when it comes to these type of games. So I'm excited. I'm very, very excited for this game to come out. I'm excited for the competition, right? I think because we've got we've got Sonic Superstars coming out October 17th, and then you got this game, Super Mario Wonder, coming out on October 20th. Right? So I cannot wait to see on Twitter. Yes, I still say Twitter. I do not say X. I still call it Twitter. I cannot wait to see on Twitter and Threads and Facebook and Instagram the competition, right? Because you got these two, Mario and Sonic, 2D platform type of adventure type games where it's online, it's multiplayer, it's local play. I can't wait to see the competition. I can't wait to say which game won this war. This competition, right? I love it. It's a good day. It's a good time to be, you know, not only a gamer, but it's a good time for games because, you know, October 20th, you got Spider-Man 2, right? You got these two games coming out, Mortal Kombat's coming out this month. So I'm very, very excited for that. Shout out to Nintendo, but I really hope we get to see more characters, maybe in DLC. Maybe, but we'll wait and see. The one thing that I was just like, about when it came down to the Direct was they announced the new Switch, right? So it's essentially a new Switch. Is the Mario Edition OLED Switch, right? So it's the OLED, the white OLED that came out with the Samus game, maybe about a year and a half ago. But they painted it red, and on the inside they painted some coins, and that was it. I say that this is a little bit lazy simply because they didn't. I say it was lazy because you're just painting it red. Now I get it, it's the market. Somebody's gonna buy this for their collection, but it would be really dope if they were able to add in this new Super Mario Wonders game included with this purchase of this Switch. Just imagine. Now this game is gonna be $60, $70, regardless, because it's a new Mario game. $60, $70. Wouldn't it have made it more sense to add this into the new Switch that's probably gonna be $300, $400? Add the game free with that purchase, right? Because somebody's gonna want to play this new Mario game and they get a new Switch to their collection for $300. $300 is greater than $60. So if I was CEO of Nintendo, I would have said, okay, let's make this as a bundle, right? You buy this new Mario Edition Switch, OLED Switch, you get Super Mario Wonders for free. That's how I would do it, because to make more money, more revenue. But hey, I'm not Nintendo. I didn't come up with those rules. But let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for the new Mario game as much as we are? We like to hear from you guys for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you, Simone. I am super stoked about this. I told my brother that I was going to buy this, and hopefully that we'll enjoy it, because I see me and my brother playing this along with some friends. So very, very excited for that. Shout out to Super Mario Wonder. Shout out to Sonic Superstars because I'm getting that game too. So shout out to all my gamers out there because it's a good year. Towards the end of the year, it's a good year for gaming. I mean, there's a lot of great things coming out towards this end of the year of 2023. Now I got to give you guys every time. I like to do what's called the movie review. Now look. You guys know what's on the thumbnail of the podcast, but I'm excited to talk about this show. It is available right now on HBO Max, and it is a show that you're going to say, this dude is crazy. If you don't know what I'm talking about the hit documentary show or movie, really. It's called BS High. Now, it's the story about Roy Johnson. And he's going out there and he's making a fake high school, right, for fake players to come in and to really play terrible at football. But he really screws them up for college. Now, look, I got to shout out to my fellow podcasters and YouTubers. They don't probably know who I am, but they actually were just here a couple days ago in Atlanta at the Square. Shout out to Double Toasted. If you guys don't know Double Toasted is a YouTube channel where, you know, you've got a group of guys that do all sorts of reviews. Whether they really, Simone, they really focus on the movie aspects of their review, but they do video game review, they do current news and topics as well. So it's cool that they're kind of diversifying in their content a little bit. So I got to give a shout out to them because I've been listening to them for about a year now, and I became a subscriber because I really love their content. I laugh with them and they talk about some really funny stuff. So shout out to Double Toasted. They don't know who I am we are as podcasters, but shout out to them because they're featured in this movie towards the intro, right? You get to hear Corey and Billy and a little bit of Martin in the intro. Those are the guys. Those are the hosts of their show. But it's cool to see, you know, YouTubers, they're in this documentary and they kind of have that claim to fame a little bit because I don't think they knew they were going to be in this movie, right? They just kind of, and typically when you upload a show or a podcast to YouTube, you can really rip it off and really, there's not really a copyright technically with that. So it's cool. I think they just love being in that film. But I'm talking about BS High. At this man, crazy as hell. You can see crazy in his eyes. So the story about Roy Johnson is a long-term story where, you know, he was a guy that's looking to make some money, right? Make some money out of kids. And what he ended up doing was he did a lot, right? He did a lot. He did so much to have these guys come to this school, right? Bishop Sycamore was the name of the school. They were just finding kids that, you know, and this was a school where, or it's not really a school because it's a sham, but this was a school that he allowed, or not really allowed. He had high school men to come to this school as an all prep school to just help the guys come out of the troubling times that they had, right? A lot of people had some troubling times, and, you know, the grades wasn't right. They always was fighting in school and whatnot. So, you know, they didn't really have what it, you know, that spark to be that AAA student. So they ended up going to this prep school, pursuing prep school, and to really form their team and to really get their grades up. And then Roy Johnson promised these guys that, hey, I'm going to get you to the NFL, right? And typically with these students, unfortunately, you know, out of desperation, Simone, this is out of desperation because, you know, people do things when they're desperate, right? I've done things because at one point I was desperate at one point, right? I've done it. So these kids are they're desperate because the grades may not be AAA. They may not, and I'm not saying that they will, but let's say if they take the SATs or the Compass test to get into college, their score may not be as huge, right? And a lot of schools that are looking for athletes who can get it done, who can make A's and B's on their score, you know, these kids may not make that cut, right? So colleges do look at SAT scores and or compass test scores to see if you can get into a certain type of college. But Roy Johnson gave these guys the kind of a hoax, right? Kind of a lie, if you will, in the state of Ohio, saying, hey, I'm going to get you to college, right? I just guarantee I'm going to get you to college. Now, these guys, excuse me, these guys was a football team in Ohio, and they were going against the powerhouse prep school IMG Academy that is located in Florida, and that was it, right? You had this Bishop Sycamore prep school, high school that was not real, and everybody's talking about them. But then ESPN picked them up, right? Shout out to ESPN and the guys over there at ESPN, but they picked it up. They say, hey, if you go against IMG, that's the powerhouse prep school, we're going to air this on ESPN. So Roy Johnson saw this as, hey, we're going to be on TV. We're going to be on TV. We're going to make this happen. So that's where he kind of had that claim of that claim of fame there, because they say, hey, I'm going to be on TV. We're going to do this out really well. Let's do it. It's all a sham, though. It's a really, really big sham. When they travel, they say that he owes about $300,000 in debt worth of hotel stays and rental properties and seized properties that, this dude never paid. And that's the tricky thing about a lot of high schools. High schools, they do what is called, and they mentioned it, the Net 30, right? I know all about that in business. Net 30, Net 30, Net 60, and Net 90. Try saying that 3 times fast, Simone. So schools can set up a net, right? It's a tricky thing with setting up a Net 30 or Net 60 or Net 90, because it's like saying in 90 days I'm going to pay you, right? You give me the product now, in 60 days I'm going to pay you. But what Roy Johnson did was, okay, so if we're renting properties for these kids to stay in, for travel and to stay in, so you're giving me a Net 90 and you prove a Net 90, basically you're giving that person a credit, right? We're giving you a credit of this, you just got to pay it back by this amount of days. So what he did was, well, shoot, if you're giving me a Net 90 as a credit, let's say day 70, we're moving out. Right? And now we don't have to pay you because I'm a scam. I've run from you. You can't find me because I didn't put a card down on file. You gave me a net 90. And that's the sick shit that he would do. Another sick thing that he has done, where there was a way that I think they were getting approved for something, or trying to get approved for something. I'm blanking down on that tour. I think it was like a more of an apartment style, and typically with apartments you have to give out your it was business loan, Simone. So he was looking to get business loan for each kid, right? So each kid, not knowing, and this is where it's not really the kids' fault, because they're high school kids, they don't know any better, but obviously you don't want to give out your social security number. Right, if somebody's asking, somebody that's kind of sleazy is asking you to put your name down on something and give your credit score and your social security number and take out a loan, and this is what he would do. In the kid's name, he would take out a loan in the kid's name. Right, each kid, I think in the documentary, they took out about $20,000 under these high school kids' names, because they gave him their social security number, their credit score. And some kids were able to get approved for the $20,000. But obviously, you don't want to take out any money if you just don't have a desire to pay it back, right? That's where a lot of people mess up, is if you can take out a loan because you need it, you got to make sure you pay it back, right? So that's what he did. He took out loans in kids' names. He put up the apartments in some of these kids' names. So it kind of obviously screwed up their credit score when they couldn't pay back that loan. Right, so their credit score got whacked up, right? And it made it harder for these kids when they grow up to become adults. It's harder for them to get approved for things, right? Let's say if they want to lease a house, or rent out a house, or an apartment, or if you want to finance a new car, these kids couldn't do it because they owe $20,000, right? So it's the most screwed up thing that this man has done. And the even more screwed up part about it is ain't nothing that the Ohio government can do about it. Because there's not enough efficient evidence to incriminate this man. Honestly, this man is a man from hell. This man is a man that is not of God. And this is a man that deserves to be in prison. But there's nothing that they can do, right? There's no law. There's no law about what he did. Or so for right now, there's nothing that we know is incriminating, but they can't prove it, right? And this man is smart, right? There was one scene in the episode where he was getting interviewed. Obviously, and let me tell you, Simone, guy and fans, this man is playing this off because he knows this was an interview style. He was getting interviewed for HBO Max. Obviously, he knows this is an HBO Max documentary, so he's going to be on TV. So this man is acting the shit out of this, right? There's one scene that the one scene about the net 90, and they rented it out, places to stay for net 90, and he never paid, and he laughed so sinister, like so evil, like he knew what he did. And there was another scene that he was like, you screwed these kids' lives up, right? He was like, yeah. And then the interviewer said, would you do this again? He says, yes. Right? Very, very evil man. So he laughs very, very sinister. A lot of these kids play football. A lot of these kids play football with torn ACLs. That screwed him up. One kid, Trillion, he was getting ready to go to an HBCU, and they pulled out because they found out he was part of Bishop Sycamore, so that screwed him up in there. And towards the end, a lot of these kids, a lot of these students, they got done, but they're flipping burgers at Burger King, or they're either making music on the side in hopes to get into a football career. That shit's dead, by the way. For a lot of these high schoolers, they have that dream of becoming high school or college football players, but some of these kids now, they're like 21, 22, 24, 26. You're getting too old for it now. That dream is gone. So very, very sinister as well. This is so funny. This is a documentary that is just so funny to watch, but then you really get to watch con artist, right? You really get to watch con artist and a man who just do not care, who has no morals, right? Who has no life to him. He's just cold-hearted. He's a cold-hearted bastard, if you will. But it's so funny. And he did say, Simone and cast and crew and fans, he did say he's still trying to build the school back up. So we'll watch it. If it comes out with BS High #2, I definitely will watch it. I definitely will review it. But guys, let us know. Watch this on HBO Max. It's called BS High. It is the most effed up situation that this man can do. He's a AAA con artist for sure. AAA. So we're going to move next on to our hip-hop news with my main man, Tyrus Lester. He's here in the studio this morning for K.L.P. Aftermath Season 7. T, what we got today, man?
50 Cent, man, was at a concert in L.A., and it appeared that he got aggravated. I don't know if it was because of technical difficulties, but at a point in time, as caught on camera, he hurled a microphone. And this microphone hit Power 106 host Brianna in the head. Now, one thing I was hearing is that she wasn't supposed to be in this restricted area. But nevertheless, the pictures are out there. She got hit in the head, and it's a pretty big gash. Now they're saying that 50 Cent possibly could be a suspect in a criminal battery report, which is you throw something, you hit somebody, intentionally or not, battery. Yes, battery. So what's your thoughts on this whole situation, man? It's going pretty crazy right now in the news. With the way they word it, sounds a lot more violent and disrespectful than what it really was. I don't think any criminal charges are going to be brought up on 50 Cent for doing it, but 50 Cent's about to come out his wallet pretty heavy. Yeah, because it's on camera. It's everywhere now. It's seeing him throwing it with very, very, strong aggression, to say the least, and you knock somebody upside the head and you put a pretty bad gash on him. I'm sure that he's probably feeling that now, feeling bad about the situation, because we've all seen frustration. I mean, we just seen Cardi B get a little water thrown on her after she was asking the crowd to throw water on her, and she hurled a mic at somebody, right? And I'm saying we've seen many a situation where people get mad at their technical crew or staff, and they throwing temper tantrums, whatever the case may be. You're trying to put on the best show for the fans. That's your brand out there. That's your reputation on the line, so you want to put on the best show. But at the same time, you just did this in front of millions of people, and then those millions of people sent it to other millions. So it just don't look good, and there's no way around it. We know 50 don't play in court. 50's record in court is impeccable, probably one of the best records we'll ever see in sports. Whatever the case may be, 50's court record's up there with one of the greats. But he gonna take an L on this one. Yeah, it's no, and then we don't know if the woman's gonna press charges yet, but I can guarantee you, she's gonna press charges, because that's probably gonna be a prerequisite of her, you getting the money. Either way, she's gonna get paid, I think, whether she press charges, whether, whatever. And I'm sure everybody knows that it was an accident, but she gonna get paid. I think she deserves to get paid. You know what I mean? Painless out of court with the wheelchair and a neck brace on, and oh yeah, she gonna come in there fucked up. Yep, get that money, boo. And then you never know what people, go through in that situation. You get cracked in your head with a mic, shit split. It could be emotional turmoil, mental. You just never know. We could sit up here and be like, oh, she's trying to get the bag, but he probably should have never do it in the manner that he did, especially with people being in that area. He cracked her skull. Yeah, it's bad. It's not like a little shit. Yeah. That's concussion. That, who knows? She needs surgery. Who knows if her eyes are damaged? She cracked her shit. He made a mistake, man. It's gonna cost him. Yeah, like I said, I don't think he's about to go to jail. I don't think she's gonna take it that far. But I think a nice settlement will heal some wounds. No matter how much. I'll say at least a couple $100,000. Yeah, at least. I'm gonna aim high and right, what the fuck happened? Man. But yeah, he gonna come out the pocket. I think it'll make it quick. I don't think 50 gonna fight this one. Why deal with the courts and lawyer fees and all that stuff when this is pretty cut and dry, man? The number ain't too astronomical. Y'all can come up with an agreement to save lawyer fees and court costs and all that. I know that's what I would do. And I'm not saying that this ain't a situation where homegirl's trying to railroad him or extort him or anything. He bust her head with a microphone. Albeit an accident, did it. So, hey man, you got to pay up, bro. What happened? Go ahead, hello, you guys. What happened with Game? Because Game was jumping in his clown and 50. Whatever happened with 50 Cent in Game, man? Where did they ever go wrong? Oh man, we're taking it back. I don't know. I think when I looking back on that and being such a fan of G Unit at the time and Game at the time and Game and G Unit together, I think it was an arrogant situation. I really do. I think it was an ego thing. I think that Game comes from the West Coast. You know what I mean? Gets put in the G Unit. He's one of the hottest things fucking smoking. He's feeling himself. 50 also one of the hottest things smoking. And I just think you got two egos clashing and it just played out bad on camera. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I think too, man. At the end of the day, I'm not going to say if 50 made them, you know what I mean? But he gave them an opportunity and they thrive with that opportunity. Hell yeah. It's just sad that none of these groups, these iconic groups from the late 2000s or late 90s, early 2000s, and mid 2000s, none of them really, I think, reached the potential that they could. Even like Rockefeller, you know what I mean? The word coulda went. I don't think and they did a lot. I'm not saying, but like, look at all Rockefeller had, and when they split, it just like went downhill. You think of all those groups from our era, right? So that's the Rough Riders, Rockefeller, Dipset, Terror Squad, Murder Inc. There was always one that kind of shined. Right. Still kind of stood the test of time. Yep. What does that say? Was it always that one to begin with? Did the team help that one? Because even followed by that one came jealousy, envy, and some sort of, turmoil within. So, all right, I'll give you a Fat Joe, for an example. Terror Squad did his thing, but wasn't the baddest lyricist, wasn't the face of Terror Squad. It was Pun. Pun's gone. Fat Joe's here, thriving better than ever, survived, still, repping Terror Squad, but there's nothing to be found of that. Well, what do you think about that dynamic? I think that sometimes a talent don't matter all the time. I think whoever could be more savvy at business, who could make the better songs and stand the test of time. And it's not not fair in the situation because Big Pun passed away. But let's just look at, with Jay-Z, a situation with Rockefeller. it's clear that, and I'm not trying to take nothing away from Dame and Big, it's clear that he was a superior business mind. You know what I mean? That he had, bigger aspirations than that. And once that situation was ended, he continued to evolve. He continued to expand his brand to a multi-billion-dollar brand. And the same thing with Fat Joe. When that situation was over, people were talking about that he took Pun's rhyme book, and that was Pun's rhymes, and he made some hits after Pun died. Much as we want to sit up here, even Diddy, after that situation, Biggie gone, okay, yeah, I'm still going to reinvent myself and move through this industry and hot. Yeah. So it's just like, I think it's both. I think that, when Rockefeller was hot, when Bad Boy was hot, they got hot-ass people around them. But it wasn't going to stop them, whether those people made it or not. It wasn't going to stop Diddy. It wasn't going to stop Jay. It wasn't going to stop none of these people, Irv, whoever, from reaching what they needed to reach later on in life. You know what I mean? And I just wish I would have seen more. But hey, sometimes things just happen and it runs its course, for a reason. But I tell you this, all them dudes from State Property, I ain't gonna say that they eating crazy, but they still, out there doing shows and shit. 25 years later from that situation. Exactly. Yep. You know how to hustle. You created a brand and a name for yourself, and you can still go out there and make money. Yeah, that's all I'm saying sometimes when it comes to these labels and kind of putting a button on the whole podcast. Sometimes these artists and the dynamic between the artist and the company is more than what we know. Yep, you know what I'm saying? And maybe those ones that was sitting behind the scenes and now we see in the front row, that business acumen was just a little tighter and a little stronger than the stars that may be out in front of it. Outside of a Jay-Z, because obviously Jay-Z was the star, and then he had the business acumen to go ahead and take that to another level, but he's one in a million. Can you hear about Irv Gotti, who's pretty much saying about the whole situation that like Jay-Z was really like the mastermind and like Dame was along for the ride? Yeah, I heard that. What do you think about that? Foof, that's wild, boy. Woo! Those are some that's smoke right there. Yeah, and without going, he said it without saying. He was like, yeah, no, he went along for the ride. I don't know Dame and Irv's relationships. I know they were cool. I know they gave tough love and stuff like that. I know they had some business things that didn't go the way that they wanted it to. But I give Dame a little more credit than I think Irv will. Yeah, I'll give him a little more credit. Yes, Jay was the star. Jay is the one that has seemingly won now when you look at how successful he is, but I'm gonna give Dame way more credit than that man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He was in those board meetings, going head to head with some of these labels. He was putting on the shows, he was doing things, he was setting shit up. It's more than just the artist, and Jay-Z needed help in those situations because not one man could do that by himself. So I'm gonna give Dame more credit than Irv.
So yeah, I actually saw a video of that, and that was, yeah, he threw that like he was pitching at a baseball game. It was like, boom. It was really, really fast. And I play baseball, so I know how that feels. Imagine a baseball getting hurled in your face like that, real fast by a real fast pitch pitcher, right? It doesn't go off really well. It doesn't. Now, of course, we've got my main man, James Myers, from our hit show, Sports Talk, with James Myers, Christina Collin, and Tyrus. To give us the latest in sports news. Take it away, James.
Sanders essentially told Colorado Buffalo players who were on the one-win team last year, "You're probably not going to play here, you should transfer." That's essentially what he told them. And in brought his son, who starred at Jackson State, and let's not act like Shedeur Sanders wasn't a superstar recruit. He had offers from Alabama, Georgia, Florida, like everybody wanted him coming out of high school. Goes to Jackson State with his dad. And throws for 510 yards against TCU in a flawless performance. And, of course, Deion Sanders, who ran his mouth before the game, ran his mouth all spring, all summer. Deion Sanders was kind of fired up talking to the media after the game. He's got one of those CVS-length receipts that he's going to show people. Because, yes, people doubted him. I doubted. How would you not? We've literally never seen this in college football, folks. Never seen anything like it before. Colorado, by the way, I had to look this up. This is a stunning stat. Last 17 seasons, they had one winning record. That's it. This program is garbage. And I'm not taking shots at Colorado. This is just a fact. You think of Colorado Buffaloes, who are the guys that come to mind? Cordell Stewart, played 30 years ago. Maybe Michael Westbrook, who caught the amazing Hail Mary pass against Michigan. You think about Joel Klatt, our very own here from Fox. You think a couple, Rashaan Salam, who was a tremendous running back, but like they haven't had any success in recent years. Deion essentially took over the worst program in Power 5 and said, we're not next, we're now. Well, we're not coming, we're here. Folks, he brought in 53, I have to check the notes here, 53 transfers into the program, tops in Division 1. They had 3 returning starters. Every year, one of my college football, previews to get ready for the season, I look at returning production, returning starters. That matters immensely in college football. Colorado had like nothing. They brought back nothing. And Deion Sanders had no fear. He came in and ran his mouth, and he kind of delivered. Now, it is only 1 week. We don't want to overreact. Again, it's 1 week. It was an impressive win. And I got guys texting me, oh my gosh, did you see what happened to the line for Colorado, Nebraska, Jay, next week? I said, yeah, I saw it. Colorado's probably going to be in trouble. And, I got texts back, oh, come on, you're crazy. So if you don't check the lines, Colorado was a 3-touchdown underdog last week. Vegas puts out lines for week 2 as well. And Colorado was a 7.5-point dog against Nebraska. They're now favored after this result. They're now favored by 3, a 10.5-point move for week 2 off 1 game. Listen, that is a bit of an overreaction. And I do question what the campus is going to be like for the Colorado kids, especially Sanders and Hunter. Travis Hunter, who, what a performance. We'll talk about him shortly. But what's campus going to be like for those guys this week? They're going to be walking into class, standing ovations everywhere. They're going to be walking into the dining hall, and everybody's going to just be, Colorado, we're back, thank you. Like, it was one of those performances where the college football world got shaken up. And I do want to not just make this about Deion, because what he did was incredible, and his son was phenomenal. And oh, by the way, yes, we'll talk about his son, and, this will be his 3rd year of college football. He will be draft eligible after the season. What are they doing? What's the game plan for Jerry? And one of the smart producers in the meeting said, well, Jerry, he turns 81 this year. He's over 25 years, hasn't been to a conference championship game. And, this isn't, I don't think, too incendiary of a take, but I went and looked up Dak's contract, and wouldn't you know it, there's an out after this season in Dak's contract. And I think I've said this before, guys. Again, I'm not bashing Dak Prescott, but if you are Jerry Jones and you look at the Cowboys and you look at the landscape of the NFL, I don't have Mahomes. I don't have Josh Allen. I don't have Joe Burrow. I got Dak Prescott. I'm paying him a lot of money, and he's not delivering. Why can't I try the route that the 49ers are going? I'm going to build an awesome defense, impenetrable. I'm going to put great pieces around a quarterback that's on the rookie deal or, a marginal contract like Garoppolo. He was not one of the highest paid when they went to the Super Bowl a few years ago. And I'm going to go that route. I'm not going to pay my quarterback because I don't have a star. I don't have an Aaron Rodgers. Dak's not Mahomes. Some people want to put him top 10 quarterback in the league. I don't know. I'm not doing that. Like, is he better than Kirk Cousins? I think it's a fair question. But the point is, Jerry Jones has options. What if I go the 49ers route? What if I build a stacked defense? They just added the cornerback Gilmore. By many accounts online, you look at the numbers, Dallas has a top 3 defense, arguably number 1. 3 of their 4 draft picks this year on a team where the Cowboys had a good defense already, or the offense had the questions. 3 of the first 4 draft picks were defensive guys. Like, they're going to be stacked defensively. They're going to shut some people down. I got a fantasy draft later today for my 12-year-old son. He's already looking at the Cowboy defense. I'm telling him, no, the schedule's tough. Avoid him. And public service announcement. But I do think this Dallas model of let's remove Dak, who, by the way, led the league in interceptions last year, and he missed 5 games. Led the league in interceptions. Oh, and by the way, since that gruesome leg injury that he suffered in 2020, Dak has basically not been running football. It's not happening anymore for him. His numbers, if you look early in his career with Dallas, he was a massive threat to run the football. Kept defenses off balance because he was nimble, ran a lot at Mississippi State, was running a lot in his first few years. That's not happening anymore. And when you remove the element of Dak's scrambling ability, he's now got to win from the pocket. And yes, he's a good quarterback, but is he Mahomes, Burrow, Allen in the postseason? He's going to turn it up and take you to the promised land? We haven't seen it. And I think Jerry Jones would be wise to say, you know what? We'll give Dak one more year. We jettison Kellen Moore. Mike McCarthy, you're calling the plays. If it fails, one of two things is happening, maybe both. McCarthy is a goner, and by fail, I mean you got to at least reach the conference championship. That's the minimum for Dallas. This first, second round stuff, that's not going to cut it anymore. This team's ready to win now, and I don't personally love Dallas this year, but a lot of the smart analytics guys that I talk to, they love the Cowboys. A lot of them have the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. And I know this is not the first time you've heard that, but just think about this. McCarthy's going to be gone, or Dak, or both, if they don't deliver. And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if you go into next season with a feisty quarterback battle between Trey Lance and Cooper Rush. And I've joked online, people got so angry at me. I would rather take a cheap Cooper Rush than Daniel Jones at $39 million a year. Cooper Rush showed me some things. Again, when you surround him with a great offensive line, good skill position players, and a formidable defense, yeah, Cooper Rush can get the job done just like Brock Purdy. Okay? We've seen this. The model exists. Can Jerry Jones do it? And the final note I'll say is people are like, oh no, Dak's Jerry's guy. Jay, he's not doing that. Remember how Jason Garrett was Jerry's guy?
Well, all right, James. Thank you for that. Sports news, sports update. Guys, check out Sports Talk, of course, here on the networks of Swinky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6. Now, coming up next, we have Monica Gray to give us our latest in tech news. Guys, she's been thriving when it comes to our tech news for our show, and we love her for it. We really do. Monica?
This week has been crazy in the tech world. There have been so many updates from big tech making changes, AI monitoring you while you work. Have you heard about this? And so many other things we are going to be covering today. Before we get into it though, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tech, coding, career, tech news, you know, all the good stuff. And leave in the comments any other videos, topics you want me to make. All right, let's dive into this week's biggest news in tech. Okay, this first one really blew my mind, but it really shouldn't at the end of the day. Have you seen this article that came out? It was by IBM, and it was actually a report they released, and it says, in IBM, executives surveyed estimated that 40% of the workforce will need to reskill as a result of implementing AI. 40% of workers will need to reskill because of AI. Now, when I first read this and I saw headings on social media, I think the immediate reaction, especially on social media, was really trying to drive fear around people and the loss of jobs that would come from this. But when you really take a minute and dive into this report and what it means, it's not as though AI is going to take over your job, but you will need to continue to reskill. I mean, we talk about this all the time on videos on here as how important it is to continue to build up new skills. But now more than ever is the time to do so, whether it's through taking a course online, going into your local, even your local college if you prefer in person, whatever the case is. Reskill, upskill, you get the point. 40% though, it's pretty wild. Oh, and I didn't mention, this is within the next 3 years. This isn't 10 years from now, even 5 years from now. This is within 3 years. I'm curious to hear though, has AI already impacted your job? Do you use AI in your job? Is this the future of how work will track you? This video was released and I found it super interesting to see how it made me feel. First of all, okay, check it out. Give us a watch. How does this make you feel? What is happening here that you are seeing is it is using computer vision to track how the employees are working, how fast they are working, how many cups of coffee they can pour, how quickly, all of that. What does that create though for work culture? On one hand, it's, great because the people who are working will, working really hard will get rewarded. But on the other hand, is it creating this hustle culture that we have worked so hard to really get away from? And also to, what happens if you check your phone? What happens if you take a little too long of a bathroom break or too long of a break? Like, point being, where does it stop if these rules are implemented? There was another video circulating with computer vision as well, and this one was more around your posture. And I found this one really interesting because at first I was like, this is great, I love this, I would definitely want work to implement this and use it. Where, okay, let's put it up on screen here. So you can see what's happening right now is it will go red if someone has bad posture, and then if they correct their posture, it will go green. I shared both of these clips on my social media, and the response was so interesting. On one side, people were all for this. They were similar to myself when I saw this video. They were thinking, this is really interesting. This could be really good and help with health effects. And the other side was like, if my employer is monitoring anything other than the bare minimum of what they should be, I'm out. Which brings up the question, where is the line of what your employer can monitor? And who decides that? Is it your country's government? Is it your employer? Do us as employees have to put our foot down at some point? Curious to hear your thoughts on this. Coming in at number 3 for this past week's biggest tech news is around Apple. Did you hear the announcement? I was so pumped when I heard it. So on Tuesday, they announced that they will be sending out, sending out press invites for the morning of September 12th. That is when this big event will take place. And this is going to be an in-person event at the Steve Jobs Theater inside Apple Park. This is going to be massive. I'm sure you've heard or seen the rumors of what is going to be announced, specifically around the iPhone 15. This is apparently going to be the biggest iPhone drop in a long time with new features that I'm pretty excited about. Here are some things that the iPhone 15 is rumored to have. One being that it will bring significant upgrades to colors, so new colors, better battery performance, and a switch. This is the biggest update in my opinion. A switch from Apple's proprietary Lightning connector to the USB-C, which would bring faster charging, and then also to improve camera capabilities. So there's a lot packed into there. Now, when I heard that they were releasing a new iPhone, before I heard the new features, I was like, I don't need a new one. And I think that's how a lot of Apple users have been feeling. They're happy with whatever iPhone they have, and they're not looking to upgrade. And we've seen that, a lot of news actually on this, that the reports of iPhone, people buying the new iPhones right as they come out, has really significantly dropped. So there's no surprise that they felt this pressure that for this next iPhone release, it needs to be pretty significant. Then I was thinking, okay, this is great. I want to get the iPhone 15. I want to see all these new upgrades. But then I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't know if I want to be one of the first ones to get the iPhone 15 with this new charging port, because a lot of times when you're traveling with your friends or family, now what's going to happen is if they don't have that port, if they don't have the USB-C iPhone 15, you're not going to have a charger if you forgot yours. So I'm on the fence about that. Curious to hear your thoughts though. This next one is pretty wild. Probably the wildest thing to come out of tech news this week. I feel like I said that for everything we talked about, but I don't know. This is next level. Okay, what is it? Tech billionaires are planning to build a California city from scratch. Let me explain. Let's take a step back on this one. It's pretty wild. So who are these investors? Well, it's an elite group. This is what they keep on saying in the articles. It's an elite group of tech executives, tech founders, the whole big tech thing. But some other tech entrepreneurs and investors that recently joined include LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman, Stripe co-founders Patrick and John Collision, billionaire and philanthropist Lauren Powell Jobs, and Moritz of Sequoia Capital. So we got some big money behind us here. And what is going on? All of these tech billionaires just got together and were like, let's build our own city. Screw the cities that already exist. It's pretty wild. It's actually they're being called a utopia. They're saying it would be as walkable as Paris and create tens of thousands of jobs, which of course they're saying that, and maybe that will be the case, but they have to say that in order to really sell the community or cities around this area about it. So here's more about the land they bought up. So they spent $800 million to scoop up this land. It's in Solano County, and the hope is to transform it into a city. So right now it's not zoned to do so. They've been fighting, I believe in the courts, are starting to get this approved that they can actually start building on this land and building a city. And may I remind you, this area where they are building is desert. It is flat, it is dry. It's not like this lush green area to build on. They're starting from nothing, which I guess if you're a tech billionaire is your last problem. Residents, though, that live around this area are very angry. I'm reading in the Los Angeles Times, actually, and what they say about it is some of the things the residents are worried about is what is going to happen to, they have tons of livestock around this area. What's going to happen to the livestock? What's going to happen to their quality of life if this massive city is just like plunked in the middle and then surrounding areas, they'll be affected. And what does that mean for the cost of living? It impacts so many people. I'm really curious to see if this gets approved, and if so, how this all unfolds. And I'm even more curious to see how people will react to this. Would you want to move to a tech billionaire city? two other small things, but big things that I want to update you on. One is Google just launched watermarks for AI generated images. This is a huge step in the direction of being able to have some guidelines or some restrictions around AI. Up until now, it's really been the Wild West with AI generated images. Check out my latest thumbnails. Or AI generated content, not knowing what is real and what is false. Obviously, something like images, a lot of times you do know is AI generated. I mean, for my own thumbnails, I was encouraged. I can like, yes, this is AI generated. Very obvious. For the ones that are anyways. And it's a fun way to make content, but I do think it's a really good idea to start labeling what is real and what is AI generated, especially when we get more into deep fakes and what that means in various industries. Last on the list is, I just found this really interesting, which is computer scientists develop open source tool for dramatically speeding up programming language Python. I found this really interesting because one of the issues that I've heard over and over again using Python in production is a lot of times they're notoriously slow. Actually, it says here in this article, it is 60,000 times slower than code written in other programming languages. So a team of computer scientists at the University of Massachusetts recently unveiled a prize-winning Python profiler called Scaling. Now, this is pretty interesting. So what essentially we'll do is Scaling will identify where Python is having trouble in keeping up, the areas in the code that Python is having a bit of trouble. Then it uses AI to leverage the same technology actually that is used in ChatGPT.
Thank you, Monica, for those latest in tech news for sure. We love it. We love to hear it. So that's going to wrap it up here on our podcast today for, of course, that beautiful, and I do mean it, the beautiful Tuesday, September 5th. September is here. Hopefully you guys are staying safe, staying hydrated. It's still hot outside, so please stay hydrated. We love you guys. Again, thank you guys for another exciting season, another beginning of a season. We're officially season 7, and we're going to be cooking and cooking and cooking. And so that way we can get the latest in news out there for our hit show, K.L.P. Aftermath, now season 7. So that's going to wrap it up here this morning. Good morning, Atlanta. And as always, I'd like to say, before I do any of that, please be sure to hit that bell notification if you're watching the YouTube version of this podcast. We really appreciate it. So that way you don't miss the latest in KLP Entertainment content. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, can't even say Stitcher no more. Stitcher is kaput. Very, very sad about that one. Share it with your friends, letting you guys know that we had another grand episode here today. And as always, I've been your main host for the KLP Aftermath Season 7, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Stay safe, stay swanky, peace.